All right, I think I am live. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome to the Midnight Society Book Club. Um, as you can see, I'm by myself today. I'm trying something a little bit new. I am just gonna talk to y'all about this book, and we'll see how it goes. And obviously, I'm live a little later than normal too. I kind of want this to just be a very chill, vibey discussion, and we'll see how it goes. I haven't tried it like this before. Um, but today we're going to be discussing Immaculate Conception. This is by Ling Ling Huang. Oh, hey there. Hi. Yeah, so because I don't have a co-host, y'all feel free to comment and participate more because I am all yours right now. Hi. Good evening. Thank you for joining. So yeah, this is going to be a little bit different, but I do want to talk about this book. I am so excited to talk about this book. I know also that I think Gabby had this last month for her book club book, and I had no clue until last week. So I purposefully have not watched her live show because I didn't want to be unduly influenced. But I'm definitely going to be watching it after this because I think she had Sid from Sid Bookworm and Kayla as well from Books and Lala. So I'm excited to read that or see that. I mean, but I don't want to have my idea of this be tarnished or I don't know. I don't know what people thought of this. I loved it though. I'm gonna just put that out there. I loved this. Oh, hi Sarah. I haven't finished it yet, but so far it's fascinating. Well, okay. I will say though, I'm gonna talk about non-spoilers for now, so don't worry about that. And then I'll let you know when I get into spoilers. Oh, thank you so much. This is my first time filming, doing anything in this new space. I recently moved, and so I have a brand new space, and I love it. I love it so much, you guys. So I'm definitely going to be doing a video or something to show you around and tell you about all my new book spaces and all that. But let's talk about the book. I wrote out a script. I don't know if I'm going to follow this. I'm so awkward. I'm really nervous to be by myself right now for some reason. Fine with spoilers. Okay. Just enjoying the flow of the story. How far into it are you? I'm curious. Looks great. Thank you. Let's see. Okay. So let's get into the, what's it called? House cleaning. We are gathered here today to submit for the approval of the Midnight Society Immaculate Conception by Ling Ling Huang. Sorry if you can hear, my husband is building a gazebo in our backyard, so I'm sorry if that's loud. Okay, so this is how this works. If we as a people deem this story to be worthy of a 3-star rating or higher, it will be indoctrinated with or without its consent into our coven. Okay? And if it's not, then it will be eschewed, and it will must find another coven to participate in, should it want to be a part of something meaningful, I suppose. But in all seriousness, it's not that big of a deal. It's just for fun, whether we indoctrinate or inducted into the society or not. I have put up a poll on Instagram for you all to vote. If you've not voted on the Instagram, and you want to still vote, then go ahead and just let me know in the comments, and I can add that up too. And I'll let y'all know at the end whether or not the average score between myself and y'all is 3 stars or higher. And if that's the case, then it will be inducted into the Midnight Society. So yeah, that's basically how it works. So if you didn't know that, keep your eye out on my Instagram at the Midnight Society Book Club. And usually 24 hours before the live, I will put up a poll and you can tell me what your ratings are. And that way I can have it all ready before the live. Let's see. Oh, 46%. Okay, interesting. It's about to get cray for you, because stuff starts happening a lot in the end. In the last 100 pages, there's so much that goes down in this. So let's see, where should I start? I want to talk to you guys about why I chose this book, because I connected to this on a really, like, on a visceral level. I connected to this. I think because I am neurodivergent, and I don't think I've actually publicly, is this going to be the moment? Okay. I don't think I've actually publicly come out with this, but I recently um, have been diagnosed with autism in February of this year, I think. And so I've been going through a lot of stuff dealing with that internally, externally, but just in general, I am obsessed with trying to understand the human mind and how the human mind works. And I will be forever seeking ways to help myself close that gap between the terror of being perceived and the hope and joy of truly being seen. And I feel like this book really explores that in a way that is so exciting and so original and so new. And not unlike a neurodivergence from that kind of space, but just for me, that's how I connect to it. But this was particularly fascinating to me because it involves a near future technology which enables one to download experiences from the source, being the brain, and share that with somebody else. And the idea of breaking through every communication barrier, breaking through any kind of biases that a person might have, or perception of something, interpretation of something, and getting right through to the brain and knowing someone in a way that they could otherwise never be known. Like, that is what this is doing. That is the technology that's being created in this story. And it's so exciting to talk about. That's why part of the reason why I love this. But the catch for the story, if you don't know, if you haven't read this, is that it's one-sided. This technology enables one person to see in the other person's brain, but not vice versa. And so it's an uneven balance of power. And that opens up a whole lot of doors for discussion about this. But it's not even just about that technology. It's not about, like, I think I saw some reviews where people were like, when is this story going to start? Because that is in the synopsis about the technology, but it doesn't come into play in the book until way later on. I mean, it starts, they're building on it, but it's not the main point and the main purpose of the book. That's not necessarily what the story is about, but what it's about is relationships and human connection, friendship, obsession, grief, jealousy, a lot about jealousy, greed, motherhood, mental health, and so much more. Like, there's so much happening in this book. I did read Natural Beauty by this author, which was the first book of hers that I read, and I also gave that one 5 stars. So this is becoming kind of an auto buy for me. I think she's brilliant. I honestly think Ling Ling Huang is brilliant. And I think for me specifically, this was perfectly paced, perfectly plotted out. I loved everything it was doing. Huang does cray so well. She does. And that's the thing. Like, it's not off the wall cray, but it is. It's like subtle cray. It's like subtle weirdness that creeps in through this story as you go through it. I love her weirdness. I love how she thinks out of the box. I love how she writes characters. Her characters are so strong in this. But let me see. Oh, before we get too deep into this, tell me if you're in the live chat here. Let me know if you've read it. I know Skeleton Key. Tell me your first name. Wait, is that? Wait a second. Is that Sarah? No, it's not, is it? Steeply uncomfortable gray. It is. It is so uncomfortable. It is. Stina. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Stina. Thank you. I don't want to call you Skeleton Key. I appreciate that. Yeah, it gets even more crazy as you go on. So I want to start out, for anyone who hasn't read this and kind of like give you an idea of what it's about, which I think I've started to build on that, but there's so much more. So I'm not going to go into spoilers yet, but I think if you like books that have like near future-esque thrillers, like one of those 10 minutes into the future type thrillers, if you like John Mars, even like Megan Giddings, who else does stuff like that? There's so many right now that are just doing really great. I just read Glass Houses by Madeline Ashby, and it was pretty good. And that's kind of like at that near futuristic thing. I'm near dystopian type ideals to it as well, which I really liked. But so yeah, if you like that, if you like really great world building, I will get into like how awesome I think her world building is in this, because she does such a good job. This is 308 pages, and there's so much crammed into this story. Also, there's a lot of talk in here about identity and what makes us ourselves, and also how that reflects, or like how trauma and the things that we've been through inform art. There's so much about art in here. A lot of contemporary art references. If that's your thing, you're gonna love this as well. Weird lit fic vibes, and just really deep, nuanced, morally gray characters. I loved that. I loved how this ended. It's kind of like my perfect ending, because it's a little bit open. And so if you're uncomfortable with that, you may not love this ending, but I personally love an open ending. So let's see. In this world, we're following Enka and Mathilde. Hold on. Sorry if you can hear my husband in the background there. Also, cheers. I'm having a glass of whiskey. If y'all are trying to unwind this Sunday, then feel free to have a drink with me. Boys, I will say my new space, I'm in like a loft space, so I'm open to like the downstairs. So I'm still trying to figure out how this is gonna work with the sound and all of that. So let me know what you guys can hear. Did you just hear my dog bark? Did you hear my husband in the background? Because if you can't, then great. But if you can, then I'm gonna have to figure something out. Anyway, we're following Enka and Mathilde in this story. They meet in art school. Enka is the main character. Oh, excuse me. Enka's the main character. We follow from her perspective throughout the story. And in this world, there were these barriers that were put up across the country. And there are these like silvery sculptural things that they call buffers that have screens on either side. And they were introduced to the public as like an art installation. Like, oh, it's an art installation. But what it's really doing is insidiously separating the city into factions, essentially, into the rich and the poor. And that becomes known as the poor people are known as the fringe, or the fringe kids. And then you have the rich people who live in the enclaves. So it's the fringe and the enclaves. And that's like a very big part of like this world that we're setting up here. Enka was very young when the buffers went up, and she found herself on the wrong side. She was on the fringe side. And so she became a fringe kid, and she saw firsthand how the people on the side of the fringe started to become affected by this. There were separate internet for people on the fringe side where they're not getting as much information, as much up-to-date stuff. They can't drive on certain roads, so they have trouble. Her parents had trouble getting to work and got fired because they couldn't drive on the roads. They couldn't shop at certain places. Like, it just made everything inaccessible and inconvenient for people who didn't have any money. And they were just lacking a lot of resources in general. Art then became something for the rich, something that only the rich had the time, effort, energy, and resources to indulge in. And so there was the shift in cultural identity for the people on the fringe, where they began to cultivate this attitude of disgust towards anything artistic, kind of as like a punk rock fuck you towards the powers that be. But Enka, at this very young age, she knows she's an artist. And she has to not only fight to get resources to even see different kinds of art, but she has to, a dog louder than husband, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks, Tina. She not only has to like get past these barriers, these limitations of her resources, but she has this conflict with her parents now too, because they think that art is, it's like, screw the man, you don't want to share your art with me. You don't want to share your resources with me. I don't need that. And it's like, kind of makes sense. But so she's having to fight against this. What's the word? For like a stream that's been flowing, like you're going upstream, and it's difficult, but she finds a way, and she ends up getting into technology art, or like technology as a medium, and she finds a scholarship at this art school where she meets Mathilde. So Mathilde is the visionary. She is the old soul. She's the one that even the teachers admire. She's a special magical gem of an artist that is like but once in a lifetime. And Enka is very intrigued. She's very interested in her, and she tries to become her friend, essentially. She decides that she's determined to get to know Mathilde. And oh, does she get to know her? Oh, does she? Yes, she does. In fact, she gets to know her better than anyone's ever known her ever. This story, though, is told over essentially a lifetime. Like, it's kind of intimidating to say that, but I think Ling Ling Huang does an awesome job as far as the way she formats this. We start, what did I write down here? So the moments that she chooses to just zoom in and give us the details of the situation were just like spot on, so perfect. We start the book then when the girls are just meeting in this art school, and then we flash back and forth to a point in the future where Mathilde is missing and presumed dead. And Enka is she's being thrown some kind of like celebration for her art. And so eventually we catch up to that timeline, and then we move forward even more after that. But so I think she did a really good job with that. I've heard a lot of people, like some reviews that I've seen have said, like, when is the story going to start? It's saying all of this stuff about this technology and this empathy and all of that. And that really doesn't come in until the last, like, at least 50%. So I think it was marketed. I think the synopsis should have been different. And maybe should have focused more on the relationships between these girls and just the deep human connection. That's the thing that I get most out of this, is just that really deep human connection. Anyway, I gave it 5 stars. So let me know in the comments, y'all, what you rated this. If you rated this out of 5 stars, I'm interested to know. I already know what those of you who voted on Instagram think. And honestly, it's pretty much along the lines of what I think. I have not really seen any bad reviews of this, but I would be interested to hear someone who did not enjoy this and why, because I don't know if it's just me, like it feels like it's just for me, or if it's universally great, you know what I mean? Or if it's just great for me, but for me, it's great. So yeah, let's see. Let's go ahead at this point and get into some spoilers, because I just want to talk about this book. So let me see here. Do I have a banner for that? Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about spoilers. If you have not finished this, or you have not read it and you're interested in reading it and you don't want to be spoiled, then you can head out now. Come back, watch it again after you have finished it. Or if you don't care about being spoiled, continue on, but you're about to be spoiled. So how to start? I do want to talk about world building. The scaffold. Let's talk about the scaffold. Let me get back up here. So there's a lot of different things going on in this. I love how I'm going to hop out and come back later. All right, Sarah, see you later. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you. So we have the scaffold, which is the thing that Logan is working on. How do I even start? I feel like I have to tell you, but if you've read it, then I don't have to go through everything. But the scaffold is a neural network link that requires brain surgery, and it allows one person to connect to the other person's brain. It's something that Logan has been working on. Logan is the husband of Enka, who she ends up marrying into this family, who happen to be the people who started her scholarship that got her into this art school to begin with, the Dahl family. There's Logan, who I presume is her age. We don't really know how old he is. And then his dad is, what is his dad's name? Richard Dahl, Richard is an architect who used digital twin technology to predict how cities would be impacted by climate change and designed housing developments around those factors. And then he used the same tech to experiment with demographic criminology. And he had a theory that everybody is dangerous only when activated by other people. And in fact, he is the one who came up with and started these buffers that pretty much split the country in two. And then his wife is Monica, and she is a big philanthropist. She's a neurobiologist, a perfumer, and a family sociologist. She's huge in the art scene. And she's kind of like that lady. Like, she's got her toes in everything, and she's like, they're like a power couple. They're like billionaires. They have way more money than they know what to do with. And Enka ends up marrying into this family as we go on. I guess I've skipped over a lot, though, because we haven't talked about the connection that these girls built. So let's start with that. So Enka feels like she gets to this school and she's not as good as everybody else there. She feels like she's grown up without all of these resources that they've had, and there's no way that she could ever live up to or keep up with them. And when she sees Mathilde is like this beautiful, breathtaking, visionary artist, and she wants to get to know her. And I love their meet cute, because Enka finds Mathilde on the bathroom floor, and she's having a hard time or something, and she helps her. And Mathilde kind of pushes her away, but then after that, every time she passes her studio, she puts her hand up on the window, holds it there for a minute, and then walks by. And eventually Mathilde sees this as her I don't even know how she explained it. Gosh, the way she talked about art in this was so over my head most of the time, but was so poignant and beautiful. But she took that as creating, I don't remember what she said. She was creating time, building on their relationship through the layers of handprints on the window, and giving her a sense of someone's going to be there for me. You are there for me. And so they built this relationship. But Mathilde is always seemingly 5 steps ahead of Enka in the art world. And Enka just wants to be by her side. So when Mathilde goes to do, what does she do? She goes to Paris or something. And that's when Enka meets Logan. And we find that Logan is actually a clone of his father. His father's the one who started the buffers, all of that. So his father's a bad guy. Enka realizes he's a clone. She can't tell him. That really got me when I realized he was actually a clone. And I started really feeling for her. One thing I want to mention is that I felt for Enka throughout the whole book. I've seen a couple of different TikToks. Sorry, I'm getting hot in here. I've seen some different TikToks where some people are very anti-Enka. And they're and deservedly so. She is a terrible person. She is a terrible person, but I think what Ling Ling Huang does so well is that she makes her relatable. She's also so relatable, and everything that she does that is like vile and disgusting, every choice that she made, I actually gasped out loud, not in this story, not because of a plot twist or anything like that, but because of Enka's decision making and the things that she decided to do. I was like, how could you? Because I related to her so much, and when I saw her making those choices, I was just like, I want to be like, girl, no, like you're better than this. But that's where nuance comes in, and that's why humans are so unique, because we can be both things. We are not all good or all bad. My theory is that everybody we're on a spectrum of good and evil, just like most things. It's a spectrum, and every decision we make, kind of takes us a notch this way or a notch that way. But I honestly don't believe any human is completely good or completely evil. I don't think that's a thing. And I think Huang, yes, exactly. She brings out the complexities of that character, of both the characters. And she shows us how they view each other and how that's so different from the way Enka views herself. Because we're getting all of this from her perspective, it's like you don't know what Mathilde actually thinks throughout this until you do. But we get their dynamics fully based off of Enka's perception and her interpretation of their relationship. And so you have to wonder, what part of the story were we not getting? Also, the writing in here is incredibly beautiful. One of my favorite lines is, "What an unbelievable scam it is to have everything you've been told to want." That I love that, because she marries rich. This is Enka. She marries rich, and she's like got people waiting on her hand and foot, but she doesn't. That's not what she wants. She wants to create. She wants to make art, and it's like stopping her. It's all stopping her. And so she's been told she's supposed to want these things: wealth, family, all of these obligations. But it can be a fallacy, if that's not what you actually want. And I wrote down a couple other quotes. Let me see. This one I just really felt for her, and it's kind of along in the same area of that last quote, but Enka says, "I can't shake the feeling of profound loss that meets me every morning. I spend my days like a ghost haunting the halls of my own home. The constant scrutiny and control make me more alone than if the house were empty. A lack of agency fills me with depression and rage so crushing, I often want to scream, if just to hear myself." And whew, man, that hit me pretty hard. But this line, it's like explaining nothing. It's just like passing time. The way she passes time is she does it so well. She said, "A week later, we watch as the city slowly drains from the car window. The sky bruises, buildings shrink, and apartment complexes are snatched away by distance as we speed into greener and wilder places." I just think it's like so simple, but so artistic, so right to the point as well. Like, I love her writing. So, and then Enka starts lying. Enka starts making choices that are just terrible. Like, okay, I guess we should talk about Beatrice. So Mathilde does this, like, she's had a bunch of success, and then she has her new art piece is going to be motherhood, but she is going to create a child without having to use sperm. So it's just simply from her DNA, I guess, and she wanted to work with some labs to do this. And she has baby Beatrice. She wins over all of the lesbians, and she like becomes this figure, but she ends up losing the baby because too many recessive genes, and her body just couldn't do it. She didn't have what she needed to live. And so Mathilde is even more traumatized by this. And when that happens, of course, Enka just like, scoops her up, come live with me. I'll take care of you. You know, you can be, I have all the wealth in the world and whatever. But then Monica, Logan's mom, gets involved, and they get her on this conservatorship where they need her to make art. Hence, they need her to heal so she can make art. So they're very interested in her healing process, invested in her healing process. But when they ask her to make digital scans of her brain, they have this, again, new technology where they're going to make 2 scans of her brain, 2 copies of her brain, which hold all of her memories ever. And one of them, they're going to edit the trauma out. And the other one, they're going to leave the same. And then they basically like speed it up really fast and let it play out for like years in advance to see what kind of like artistic, like what is her life going to look like? Is she going to flounder, or is she going to succeed in all of that? And Enka pulls it out of the water before it's done developing, or the solution, whatever it is, and just completely just basically ruins her friend's chance. Like the doctor said she had an amazing mind and she felt so much jealousy. And it comes back to these moments where she's feeling jealousy and she's feeling envy of Mathilde. And that is such a strong theme in this, because she's so jealous that she says she doesn't even feel like, she doesn't even know she's doing it, but she sees her hand take it and lift it up, and she stops it from developing, which makes the doctors think that she doesn't have an amazing brain, that in fact her trauma is, you know, taking over her, and she's not going to be able to heal herself without these quote unquote edits. So that is like the first major thing that Enka does. Well, not the first, but the first major, I'd say. And then when she could just tell somebody, she doesn't. They all think that Enka cannot be helped, basically, or needs these edits to live a normal life, to help to even make art again, or make anything that is substantial or worth anything, or have a meaningful life for that matter. And then Enka, well, actually, the first one is that Enka said that she was thinking that she was going to self-harm, and then she destroys the digital twin or whatever. And so then they have this idea to use Logan's scaffolding as a way to let Enka help her heal. So the scaffolding, back to the scaffolding. So supposedly it connects these 2 brains, and the person who is inhabiting the other person's brain can see everything that they've ever been through, can feel everything that they've ever been through, and can also absorb some of the trauma that that person has gone through. It's almost like they're sharing the grief and sharing the pain. And Mathilde does not want to forget about her daughter, because her daughter was such a source of grief, but that grief to her is a reminder of the love that she felt for her. And so this is a compromise, so she doesn't have to just edit all of her memories away of her child. And she decides to let Enka be the one who is in control of her brain. And essentially, like, she doesn't know if Enka's in her brain. She just continues living her life, and Enka has all of this freedom to just dig around whenever she feels like it, and Mathilde never knows. Enka eventually takes it way too far. She finds out that Logan's a clone. She doesn't want to have sex with him. She doesn't want to touch him after that. And she embodies Mathilde to get through that. And that was like, that might have been like the climax. No pun intended. But that's where everything goes askew, because Logan feels violated. She is violating Mathilde. She's not asking for permission. She told her before they did this that we are going to do all of this together. She never does. she's in her body and she's in her mind, in her own body, in Enka's body, but she starts feeling possessiveness over Mathilde. She's doing art through Mathilde, she's making money through her, and she feels like that is her body, like she owns both of them now. And you just kind of see the slippery slope of Enka falling down this rabbit hole, and it was tough. It was tough to read, honestly, because I was rooting for Enka. What did you guys think? Did you guys, what was y'all's impression of Enka? Let me know in the comments. Because I personally, I was rooting for her. I wanted her to make the better choices, but she did not. And then eventually Mathilde starts, Logan tried to turn it off because he was trying to save Mathilde, and they got disconnected. And she went 10 years disconnected, and Mathilde started having a lot of issues because of that, and eventually was nonverbal. One thing I want to mention, if I had this, I would want like this scaffold thing. I think it's I want to say use cases. I don't want to say that, but like the implementation of this could be so much more than what it is in this. I'm thinking anyone who's nonverbal, like if you could have somebody know what's in your brain if you're nonverbal, I'm thinking autistic people. I'm thinking anyone with like locked in syndrome. I don't know if y'all have heard of that, but it's basically where you're like locked into your body and you look like you're dead, but you're actually awake and sensing and feeling everything going on around you. People who just speak different languages, like wouldn't it be cool to like set somebody, if you connected it from one person to that speaks a certain language and then to another person that speaks a different language, neither one of them speaks either language, but when they're connected, do they automatically speak that language? Do you just understand? I want to know the implications of all of that stuff, because I think this could be taken so much farther. And anybody who's like nonverbal too, like how amazing would that be to have themselves be understood in a way that transcends even communication? I just think this idea is really brilliant, and I would love even like another book in this world. I think would be really cool, and seeing different applications of that technology, I think would be really cool. What else? Okay. So at the end, she ends up, like, for some reason, everybody thinks Mathilde died, but no, Enka has her. Enka has her in her house, and she's like been taking care of her. And then at the very end, someone comes down and says, "It's the woman upstairs. She's asked for a pen and paper, and she's drawing." And it's like, what? Wait, what? So there was a moment also in there where obviously Mathilde confronts Enka for all of the ways that she violated her, that she exploited her and used her. And there's a moment, let me see if I can find it in the book. There's a moment where Mathilde could hurt her, but instead she heals her. She heals Enka. Where is it? I marked this up so much. Receiver passive. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. That's right. So Enka confesses, doesn't she? She confesses, right? That's right. She goes on stage. What she's done is unforgivable. She'll never know who the artist Mathilde could have been. As of today, I am removing myself from Mathilde's exhibitions and leaving the industry altogether. So she leaves the industry and she goes on stage. She confesses all of this. And she says, "As I stop walking, I begin to cry, not because of the things people are screaming or because of the objects they're throwing, which pierce my arm, stomach, ear, but because of what I feel just now. A whisper of warmth that begins in my mind and spreads, reaching deeper and further, strengthening and solidifying until I fall, broken on the floor, sobbing, surrendering to the unconditional embrace of Mathilde's mind, which envelops me completely. So Mathilde, in that moment, she could have given her a headache like she had before, but she was saying thank you and sending her warmth and healing Enka's trauma. So in the end, they're healing each other's trauma. I had this dream once where there was a possum. Oh, this is really weird. There was a possum and it was dying on the front lawn of this house. And it wasn't my house. I think I was like at an Airbnb or something in the dream. Anyway, I go out front on the grass. There's this dying possum. And it's on its back and it's looking up at me. And I'm distraught. I am absolutely distraught in the dream. I'm, oh my God, what's going on? Like, I'm so sad that this possum is dying and how can I help it? And there's nothing I can do. And the possum in the dream looks up to me and holds my hand with its little hand and comforts me. And in that moment, that was like, I will never forget this dream because it was the fact that he was comforting me in the moment of his death. She'd be like, oh my God, you're so sorry for me. And like, no, you're dying. Why are you comforting me if you are dying? Like, that's reminded me of this exchange between Enka and Mathilde at the end. And that Mathilde had been so taken advantage of, so exploited. Her life just like gone wayward because of the decisions that Enka made. And yet in that moment, she chooses to comfort her, to use the device to heal her trauma. And I just thought that was a really beautiful moment. Yeah, I just thought that was like a gorgeous moment. And then, let's see. So now I'm wondering if they were able to heal each other. Since Mathilde did that for Enka, and then Enka quit the art scene, she became a teacher, art teacher, or whatever, and just living this small, happy life at the end. Was Enka able to heal because of that like energy and that forgiveness that Mathilde gave her? And because Enka healed, did it then heal Mathilde? And that's why she was able to speak and draw again? Like, I don't know what happened, but that very last line makes me think either one, like they healed each other and they're going to be able to have this beautiful friendship again, or two, maybe Enka knew the whole time. Maybe she was not even nonverbal because we only get that from Enka. It's possible that she was not even nonverbal and that she's been able to talk the whole time. And even if she hasn't been able to, it's very possible that Enka would continue to steal her drawings and steal her art and try to get back into the art scene. So we're left thinking, what? Why? Like, what's going to happen? We don't know. And I don't know. I like to think. No, I think Enka's gonna be, if I'm realistic, these characters are nuanced enough that I feel like I know them, and I think Enka's gonna give into that again. She has not really proven or shown throughout this entire story that she's able to go past her jealousy and look past her envy. And she makes rash decisions. So what's she gonna do? I don't know. Everyone thinks Mathilde is dead, and she's upstairs in Enka's house under her full control, and she's drawing again. Oh, I just love it. I love the ending so much. What else can I talk about this? Probably start wrapping up soon. Ooh, anything else that I want to touch on? I think if you like Black Mirror, this is going to be a good one as well. And some comp titles that I was thinking of are, first of all, The Dollhouse Academy by Margarita Montemor. This is the author of Una Out of Order, and I read this one this year. And very similarly, it follows these two girls throughout a long period of time. It's got that kind of future tech thriller vibe as well. This one, Immaculate Conception, is more nuanced. It's more lit fic. It's more artistic. But if you want to read something for that friendship and that idea of like understanding another person, human connection, and also that has that like tech kind of vibe, then follow that one or read that book. That's The Dollhouse Academy, Margarita Montemor. And then another book that I really kept thinking of as I was reading this, as it got more and more toxic, was Eric LaRocca's Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, because that really gets into the toxic relationship and the emotional exploitation that we see in Immaculate Conception as well. So that's what I would compare it to. Dollhouse Academy meets Natural Beauty as well, meets Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke. I'm really excited to see what Gabby and Kayla and Sid had to say about this, because I don't know what they thought of this yet. I hope they rated it high too, because I think this is objectively a good book, but that's an opinion. So who knows? I also think this one would be really cool adapted into like an A24 film. So get on that, the powers that be, because that would be amazing. I would love to see this in film adaptation. Also, the audio narrator, shoot, I don't know who it was. I didn't write it down. Let me look so I don't leave her hanging. I hear. Why do I hear my voice talking? Oh, there we go. Let me see here. I listed this on Everent. Saved. Is it Saskia Brunelveld? No. Is it? Oh, narrated by Carolyn with a Z, King with a K. Loved her interpretation of this. Her voice for Enka and for Mathilde were very distinct and separate, and she was just a joy to listen to. Other than that, I don't have details about September's book yet, but keep posted on the Instagram, and I will let you know probably this week what we're going to be reading for September, as well as, oh wait, what is July? Yeah, September and November, right? No, January, February, March, April, September, October, November. Yeah, September, November. Okay. And let's see. Oh, the best part, we have to see if it's been inducted or not. So let me check again if anyone else rated this, just to make sure. Go on my Instagram here. Okay. All right. So the audience participation count, by my count, the average for the audience participation was 4.3. Y'all really liked this too. And then with my added 5-star, which gets 50% of the average, this obviously is going to make it into the Midnight Society Book Club as one of our peeps, one of our dudes, one of our books that we like. So yeah, we did it. I'm so happy because I love this one so much. If for some reason it hadn't, I would have been very sad and felt like, what do I even know about books? Because I love this so much. But yeah, I think it's been almost an hour. I'm surprised I actually went on for this long by myself. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are as far as having a co-host and not having a co-host. Or if it's just you would like it to be more chill and relaxed and like just me, kind of an evening thing, because we could continue to do that too. you. Either way, but all in all, I'm so glad that we read this one. I loved this so much. And there was so much more to even explore than I even got into. But let me know in your comments, especially if you watch this in the replay, let me know in the comments below, like, what were your thoughts? What were your favorite parts? What did you feel about Enka? Did you hate her the whole time, or were you just disappointed when she kept making terrible choices like I was? And what else? Just let me know how you felt about it, what you rated it in general. I guess that's going to be it. Anything else I need to address? I think that's it, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I know I didn't give you much notice. I'm going to be better in the future. I've moved in the last month. I had an emergency appendectomy. I've had just like so much stuff going on. We had my stepdaughter for all of July. Like, it's been chaos. So I'm hoping to get my stuff together and be more available for you all coming up shortly. But yeah, that's it for today, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me on this Sunday night. I hope you have had a great weekend and have a great week coming up. And yeah, don't forget that life is short. So read Riley. Cheers and goodbye.